After Mr. Nair took over as the president, our focus in HRD network shifted to building the HRD managers, HR professionals. That is how we decided that we should have uh, the next symposium on the HRD uh, managers and HRD profession. So that is how the 1990 conference or it's a symposium held at Madras focused on this. In fact, for that symposium, that was the time I was writing my book. I was quite agonized with the HRD, and I started believing HRD managers have to work like missionaries, and they quite often face quite a bit of criticism, and they should be able to differentiate what is right from what is not right, and should keep themselves away from administration, and should be focusing more on competence building, commitment building, and culture building. That was the time when I also took some time off from IIM. I was actually invited by the Ministry of HRD uh, to be a kind of an advisor. But when I got ready to go there, I was told that the Prime Minister was not very happy with the way HRD ministry is being run with advisors, and therefore the government has changed its mind of appointing me as the advisor in HRD. So I took leave from the institute and was practically jobless. But Mr. Anil Bodia, who was secretary HRD, said that he would like to make use of my services to review the National Institute of uh, Educational Planning and Administration, NEPA. And he constituted an international committee with somebody from IIEP Paris and others as members. And he said that, look, you spend some time and if necessary, full time. Of course, I had to do all of it as free of cost because we, by and large, had done a lot of work with Ministry of HRD those days without charging them anything. So I was very happy to do that. But I used that time to do a little work, continue to work on some organizations with whom I am working, which included Crompton Greaves as well as Voltas. So it was during my trips to these organizations and review of NEPA, I started writing chapters on HRD missionary, and I decided that I will I make only a small book, and in fact I had written a book on HRD missionary, which is less than about 100 pages. I mean, if you remove all the appendices, it will be hardly about 30 to 40 pages, talking about the kind of a missionary spirit that is required, how the HR departments are to be structured, HRD departments are to be structured, containing resources for HRD and things like that. So that was also the time when I recommended to Mr. Nair that we should focus the next symposium on the competencies of managers, and that is when we came up with this interesting book, Excellence uh, through Human Resource Development. Now, in my view, this is one of the most wonderful books that we have had. These are the papers of the symposium, and this had others like Ishwar Dayal. We had others like even Dr. M. B. Atreya, and a union leader working on industrial relations like Mr. Ramaswamy, and Ramanujam on the role of HRD manager, Uday Parikh, Rajan Gupta, V.S. Mahesh, K.K. Noria. So we had all the stalwarts, some CEOs, some union association representatives, and academics. I think the focus was on what are the competencies needed by HRD manager, what are the kind of tasks that they have, what is the kind of training that is required, and so on. So this was the symposium that was planned in 1990, and we also made use of this as an opportunity to look at. By the time we have already completed about 5 years of conceptualization and implementation of HRD network, we felt that it is important to have a relook at the way the National HRD network is functioning, and also articulate a mission and vision for the future. So this workshop, actually, the symposium was held a day before the symposium. I think about 25 of us, all the office bearers of the National HRD network, chapter presidents, and prominent HR people, we all got together at Madras. And we had people like Dr. PVR Murthy at the time, and Gregory, and of course Chandrasekhar was there, but he didn't so much participate in it. And this particular mission vision workshop was facilitated by V.S. Mahesh and Anil Sachdeve. So we had a full day workshop chatting out the vision and mission of National AHRD Network. It is in this particular day where we all were working in groups and coming up with sheets of paper on which we wrote what should be the future and so on. Before that, I happened to have participated with Mahesh and Anil in Goa in a very interesting open space workshop we had, and that is what impressed me, and that is how we invited Mahesh and Anil to come and conduct this particular kind of a workshop. So it is in this mission vision workshop it was decided that National HRD Network as a professional body uh, has all part-time workers, can only go up to a point and not beyond that, and therefore we need an academic institution to undertake full-time research. And we were also at that point of time feeling a little unhappy while HRD Network started with the mission of applying human resource development not only for corporate sector, for government sector, for not-for-profit organizations in every sector of the society, but nothing else was taking place other than the corporate sector. So it was felt during the mission vision workshop that we need a body which can work on not-for-profit organizations, and that is where I think the concept of a starting of a center or an institution for human resource development was conceptualized. The next 2 days, of course, we discussed in the symposium the role of HRD managers, came up with a whole lot of things. But that I must say is a landmark conference. And if you go through these papers, even today, I think this is one of the best papers that we have had, outlines the role of HRD managers. And it was in this conference I also got copies of my book, HRD Missionary Made. And this particular book was available for at a very low cost of some 25 rupees for each member, and we distributed the HRD missionary also to all the members. So this is another landmark conference of the National HRD Network. And after the conference, I think something interesting has happened. I mean, how do you take this mission vision forward? I think we were already more or less sure that this is the year 90 and we need to be doing something in terms of starting the institution. So I was working from IIM Ahmedabad as a consultant to Steel Authority of India. In fact, I think by the time we have done already about 4 years of work for Steel Authority of India, and our performance appraisal system was implemented, but it was felt that the forced distribution which Mr. Dr. Krishnamurthy introduced in SAIL is getting diluted, and the officers associations were arguing against it, and there was quite a bit of resentment. So it was at this time Mr. Nair invited Dr. Uday Parikh to review the performance appraisal system. And this time I think he also shifted as managing director of Bokaro steel plant. So from director personnel, he became managing director of the Bokaro steel plant. And therefore we decided, and he invited me to um, help him in looking at HRD in Bokaro steel plant, and Uday looking at the entire sale in terms of the performance appraisal system. So both of us we planned. In fact, I must say that uh, whenever we had done consulting projects on behalf of the Indian Institute of Management Ahmedabad, we used them as opportunity to promote and work for professional bodies. Our time for professional bodies is honorary, free, charity, and it is very much aligned with the objectives of IIM Ahmedabad, because I always remember that Professor Ravi Mathai used to say that this institute was set up, IIM Ahmedabad was set up with the mission of professionalizing management in all sectors of the society. I was fortunate to have worked with people like Ravi and Uday. So Ravi's mission of IIM Ahmedabad just got into my mind. There is not one way of doing it, there are several ways of doing it. And here we are initiating a new profession, new body of knowledge, human resources development. So if I am working for Steel Authority of India on a consulting assignment, I can spend a day or two to popularize the HRD network. Whether I'm working with L&T or working with Crompton Greaves, this is what we owe to the society. I think that was the mission with which we used to work. So Uday Parikh and I uh, were invited and we visited Bokaro. Uday to do the review the appraisal system, I to help the Bokaro steel plant on um, by the time I have already done the 360-degree feedback at IIM Ahmedabad. We didn't call it 360, but we introduced leadership styles and so on. So I think this is something which we are doing. So when we assembled there with Mr. Nair, then I think we also had Rakesh Kumar joining us from SAIL New Delhi. We thought, why don't we now have a meeting of the National HRD Network and discuss about how do we implement the outcome of the Mission Vision Workshop. This must be 2 or 3 months after the Mission Vision Workshop in February 1990. I think maybe April, May, sometime around that time, we were at Bokaro and we invited Father Abraham and Keith D'Souza to join from XLRI. So it was the five of us, Father Abraham, Keith D'Souza, Mr. Nair, Dr. Uday Parikh, myself, and with Rakesh Kumar being present there. So the six of us actually had a lot of discussions, and we said that we must take this concept of the HRD Center forward. And that is when we christened, we thought of the name, the Academy of Human Resources Development. So it was in the year 1990, Academy of HRD was conceptualized as a center to promote the objectives of National HRD Network by conducting research, by offering education programs, and whatever network is not able to do, the Academy of HRD will do. So that was the kind of a thing that we conceptualized. And then I think who is going to start this? So I am no more the president. Nair is the president of the National HRD Network. So Mr. Nair said, why don't you do this? I had my own problems at IIM Ahmedabad in the sense that Professor Narayan Sheth was the director, and if I have to take this up, I can only take it up with approval from the institute. Mr. Nair said, okay. Now, at the time, we had, in memory of Ravi Mathai, we started a center called Ravi Mathai Center for Educational Innovations. In fact, for some time, I was in charge. So I said, if we have to build an institution, it is aligned with the IIM Ahmedabad's thinking of Ravi Mathai Center's thinking of institution building. So I am sure Professor Narayan Sheth will be quite positive to this, and I requested Mr. Nair, why don't you write to him? So Mr. Nair wrote to Professor Narayan Sheth a letter saying that with the National HRD Network thought of this institute called Academy of Human Resources Development, and they think that I can promote this particular one. So is it possible for IIM Ahmedabad to spare some of my time and let me sow the seeds and take up this HRD network? In fact, he suggested why not he work as a honorary director of the Academy of HRD. We had in mind what we saw Dr. Vikram Sarabhai do when IIM was started. Vikram was honorary director. He's the one who pushed it. He was not on the salaries of IIM Ahmedabad, but he was the main founder and so on. So this concept struck us that if you are an honorary director, you should be able to do this. So we, Professor Narayan Sheth responded very positively to Mr. Nair's. And since I was also working as a member of the Ravi Mathai Center for Educational Innovations, he promptly called me and he said, TV, please take this up. Please take it up as an institution building project of IIM Ahmedabad. Help them to build the institute. The only requirement we have is document all your experiences and bring a small note or a paper or a monograph on institution building. Friends, I must tell you, I think this was a great thing Professor Narayan Sheth has done of sparing my services to start the Academy of Human Resources Development.